bring in Democratic strategist Danielle Moody Mills, host of Woke AF on SiriusXM, also Republican pollster Chris Wilson. With a big welcome to you both. Chris, how do you interpret these remarks by the president in light of his reversal on the G7 statement? How do you interpret all of this that we're hearing? Justin Trudeau, Larry Kudlow weighing in, and apparently now Macron weighing in from France.
Well, it's pretty clear that the White House, the language out of the White House is consistent, that whatever conversations took place behind closed door, the G7, that once Trudeau went out and held his press conference, that the entire White House feels betrayed by that. And so I think more will probably come out. I don't want to jump to any conclusions on it, but it is, and Macron weighing in, I think, is interesting from a standpoint. But at the same time, I mean, I think if there's one position that Donald Trump has had consistently over the course of his 40 years that he's been in the public eye, it is that he believes the United States gets a raw deal from other countries, whether it's on trade, whether it's on deals, any sort of negotiations. And so he's gone on into these negotiations with a strong hand, believing it's his role to undo that. And I think probably this is a reflection of that opinion.
Chris, though, I want to tell you, I was on the air yesterday as all of this was going down in terms of what we expected from the president. There was an unexpected, as a matter of fact, the president held his first press conference in over a year. We did not expect that to happen. We got about a 15, 20-minute heads up, which is quite remarkable when it comes to a presidential press conference. So is there a possibility that the president spoke with his colleagues in the G7, had their meetings, the president then goes to a press conference, makes his statements, which may not have reflected that which was the understanding of the other members of the G7. The president then takes off directly for Air Force One to get to Singapore. So can it be perceived as a possibility that the president initiated this difference of opinion and lack of agreement to what may have been discussed between these world leaders?
Boy, Alex, I really hate to make a judgment about with facts not in evidence here. There are so many different explanations that could be driving this. But the thing that is unique to me is, let's face it, coming out of this White House, a lot of times you have mixed messages, and that's certainly not the case between Kudlow, between the president, others who've made statements and and comments that have come out. And so it's difficult for me to believe that there was a misunderstanding amongst everybody who was there. I mean, Bolton, you had a lot of very serious people who were in the room who obviously left with the same, or apparently left with the same opinions in terms of what had been discussed.
Okay, Danielle, your reaction to all of this?
I mean, my reaction is that I'm incredibly disappointed. I think for the first time in my lifetime ever that we are a disappointment to the world. The picture of Angela Merkel that came out with all of the other G7 leaders looking down at Donald Trump in disappointment and dismay is something that should be troubling to everyone in the United States and around the world. This president is going around like a bully on a schoolyard and picking fights with our allies and then cozying up to America's longtime enemies. And I don't understand what kind of topsy-turvy world we are living in right now. And the fact is that Donald Trump and this administration is making the world a less safe place by his outbursts and by his inability to control his thoughts and his fingers on Air Force One when he decides to tweet out against our longest-serving ally.
I'm curious, Danielle, one more question. Can we try to get a read on the president's facial expression on this photo? If my director can put this back up, he looks surprised, almost slightly bemused that he is being, as you said, talked down to by the sheer sort of placement of people. What do you think, Danielle?
This president loves attention. He loves attention whether it's negative or whether it's positive. And right now, all it is woefully negative because every decision that he's making is putting America in jeopardy, right? And the idea that he is going after Justin Trudeau, that he's going after our closest allies and talking about them as if he is a schoolyard bully is damaging our reputation around the world. And so I'm sure he's amused by the fact that he is causing all this controversy and that people are talking about him and he gets to see his name on the ticker while he's sitting in a hotel room in Singapore. But this is about the safety of the United States and whether or not he's making us look incredibly bad, incredibly juvenile, and whether or not our democracy is going to be able to come back from this. What will happen with the next president that comes on board? Will they pull out of the G7? Will they pull out? Will they re-engage us in the climate discussions. Like, this is a real huge problem that America is facing right now, and I frankly am concerned.
Danielle Moody Mills and Chris Wilson, I'm very sorry for the brevity, guys. We had a lot of breaking news, as you can well understand. Thank you so much for your time right now, though.